In today's video, we have an escape animation from Haunted Hotel. Let's jump in. We wake up in a dark room with our phone and no memory of how we got there. We go to our left and see another bed with what appears to be a woman sleeping in it. As we approach the bed, her eyes suddenly open and she disappears into thin air, leaving behind a note that reads, "You shouldn't be here." We can head right or left from this point. Going left takes us to a bathroom where we can wash our face and get a glimpse of ourselves. We look terrible. Our nose is bleeding and we have cuts all over our arms. To progress, we need to head right and pick up the flashlight on the floor. This place gives me serious Pennywise vibes. We head back to the main room and notice two doors at the end of the hallway. Using our flashlight, we see a red dress lying on the ground and pick it up. The note from earlier flies off the bed and we take that as well. Entering the first door brings us to a kitchen. On the counter, we find a lighter and match. From the cabins, we can find a meat cleaver and an empty wine bottle. And next to the sink, we find some gauze and a knife. Behind the door to the left of the fridge is another note that says, "I'm sorry." On the other side of the kitchen, we can enter another room through the door or the window. Going through the door leads us to a dark room with nothing in it except for a single switch on the wall. Flipping the switch turns on the TV and shows us a message saying, "Don't trust anyone." We can also see a locked safe in the corner of the room. On the TV remote, there are numbers 1 through 6. So let's try those on the safe. But unfortunately, none of them work. We head back to the kitchen and go out the window. This takes us to a balcony with a table full of flowers and a red rose on the ground. Picking up the rose allows us to continue the story. Taking the rose back inside and placing it on the TV remote lets us change the channel. Now the TV shows a news report about a missing person. Apparently, a young man named Alex disappeared after checking into the hotel alone, which makes me think he's our character. As the video continues, we learn that he was last seen wearing a blue shirt and jeans. We can find these items of clothing in our inventory, but they're dirty. We need to head into the bathroom and wash them. After getting dressed, we can pick up the newspaper from the ground. It has a date from 1989 printed on it, meaning we somehow traveled back in time. There's also a match on the table that we can take, along with a glass shard from the vase. When we walk outside, we find a lighter on the ledge. Placing the match with the lighter allows us to light it and use it as a torch. Returning to the kitchen, we can now use the lighter to light the gas stove. Doing so reveals a secret passage behind the stove that we can enter. The tunnel leads us to a shower with some pipes sticking out of the wall. We can use the glass shard to break one of the pipes, which sprays water everywhere. Breaking the pipe causes the water pressure to drop, revealing another note behind the shower curtain that says, "Don't trust the water." We head back to the previous room and use our lighter to light the candles on the cake. This allows us to take the cake and eat it. That gives us an energy boost and heals our wounds. Now we can enter the safe using the code we found on the cake. Inside is a key card that will let us access the other side of the kitchen. Using the key card opens the door and reveals a new area where we can find a crow skull and a pentagram made out of makeup. We can also flip through some magazines on the table, but none of them have pictures in them. Some creepy crawlies can also be seen approaching us from under the door. When we try to leave, they block our path. Taking the pentagram and combining it with the crow skull allows us to complete the ritual and scare the insects away. Once we step outside, we notice some children playing nearby. One of them drops a balloon and we can pick it up. Taking the balloon back to the balcony allows us to let the wind fill it up before bringing it back inside and placing it near the TV. Doing so changes the channel to a live feed of the children playing. They appear to be sacrificing one of their members by burying them alive. When we exit the house, we find a shovel leaning against the wall. Using the shovel allows us to dig up the flower bushes and find a blue envelope. Opening! It reveals a videotape that we can take with us. Inserting it into the VCR shows us footage of a young man who looks exactly like our character. He tells us that he checked into the hotel for a nice, relaxing vacation, but soon noticed something was wrong. All the guests were acting very strange and the staff kept following him around. He decided to sneak into the basement through the laundry room to get away from everyone. In the next scene, we see him in the basement with a crow skull sitting on a pentagram. He says he discovered the only way to escape the hotel is to summon the demon that resides in the basement. He tells us that it's too late for him, but we still have a chance if we want to leave. If we don't want to listen to his advice, we can choose to watch more footage of him summoning the demon. Either way, the video ends and we can now enter the laundry room door. Inside is a washing machine and dryer, both with a red X painted on them. There are also some suspicious stains on the floor. On top of the washing machine, we find a screwdriver, which we can use to remove the vent cover. Doing so reveals a ladder that leads to the basement. In the basement, we find a dead mouse and some electrical wires coming from the wall. We can use our screwdriver to pull out one of the wires, which reveals a secret passage in the wall. Entering the hole takes us to a narrow tunnel that leads to the exterior of the building. Crawling through the hole allows us to escape the hotel and find freedom. The screen fades to black, and the sound of police sirens can be heard in the distance. Was that the end of the game? I don't know. I stopped recording when we got outside because I didn't want to spoil it for you guys. But you can keep playing. If you want to, just click on the screen and it'll take you right back to where we escaped. Now it's time to put your knowledge of the game to the test. Grab a pen and paper and answer the following questions. 1. What item did we use to light the gas stove? 2. How many children were there playing outside? 3. What year did the newspaper come from? 4. What type of clothing did the man in the TV footage wear? 5. What was written on the note found in the bathroom? If you got all 5 answers correct, you win a special prize. You get to watch me struggle to pronounce this word. Congrats! For those who stuck around until the end, I have a bit of a favor to ask. Could you please subscribe? I would greatly appreciate it! Also, thank you to our Discord boosters. Your support really means a lot. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.